Okay, so this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Specifically, this picture right here, for a couple of reasons. First off, I posit this as proof that the universe is not 10,000 years old as demonstrated in young Earth creationism, but is in fact at least as old as this, even though we know that the universe is roughly 13.72 billion years old. The observable universe is 96 billion light years across, and the Earth is roughly 4.6 billion years old. But I digress. I posit this picture as evidence that the universe is not 10,000 years old. This is a picture that I took, a picture that I am incredibly proud of. It's also kind of zoomed in. The actual size of the picture is. Hold on. That's the actual size of the picture, but I've got it zoomed in just to quote unquote see the detail or what little there is of. But this picture right here is of M104, the Sombrero Galaxy. This is a picture that I took. I assure you, this is M104. This picture, or not this picture, this galaxy is 25 million light years away from Earth. If the universe were 10,000 years old, this picture should not happen. If the universe were 10,000 years old, I should not be able to take a picture of the Sombrero Galaxy from my brother's front yard about 4 years ago with a Canon power shot. A 7-year-old Canon power shot. Well, it wasn't 7 years old at the time, but it is now. So, light can only travel at a certain speed. It's roughly 300,000 kilometers a second. Yeah, it's roughly 300,000 kilometers a second. Meaning, since that is 25 million light years away, and a light year is the distance that light can travel in a year, then the light from that galaxy to get to my camera lens took 25 million years to get here. That picture that I took of M104 is of M104 as it was 25 million years ago. We are looking into the very distant past in this picture. Humanity wasn't even remotely set to arrive on the scene when the light in this picture first left M104. That is how enormously vast and anciently old that the universe is. 13.72 billion years is a ridiculous number. Like the I can't really call them pictures because they're not really pictures, but the imagery and the data that we've received on the cosmic microwave background radiation is a, for lack of better terminology, picture of the universe when it was 300,000 years old. So any data and imagery we have of the cosmic microwave background radiation is roughly 13.4 billion years old. We are seeing the universe 13.4 billion years ago in the cosmic microwave background radiation. And for people to just dismiss all of this as fantasy because it didn't show up in a book that was written 2,000 years ago by people who didn't understand science or evolution or medicine or anything that we now have in the hundreds of years of research that we have done into these subjects. For people to just dismiss that as mere fantasy honestly infuriates me. It really does. Because the universe is an amazing thing. It is large. It is enormous. It is ancient. It is beautiful. And for somebody to be so small-minded to think that the universe is not only much smaller than we know it to be, but that it was made for us is it's ultimate intellectual dishonesty. And it's pure arrogance. I was actually called small-minded on Twitter the other day for, for I don't want to use the word believing science because people like to twist that as not believing science, but a belief in science. And that's a huge distinction that needs to be made. And I wish more people would make it. There's a difference between believing and belief in. Belief in is accepting something with no hard evidence to go on. Believing is being presented the evidence and saying, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. This all checks out. I believe that evidence. I understand that evidence. So belief in and believing are two very different things that a lot on the side of the religious like to conflate. Conflate probably isn't the right word there, but I'm still trying to wake up. But no, it's just somebody called me small-minded because I accepted science and used it as a basis for not believing in any sort of religious mythos, when I truly believe it is the very opposite. If you not only believe the Christian mythos, but accept that the universe, or accept that the universe and the Earth are only like 10,000 years old or something, and that everything was made for us, that is incredibly small-minded, because that limits that limits the viewpoint of what you see in the universe. To me, it does anyway. Because if everything was made for humanity, and the creator of this vast universe only wanted to focus on this little tiny speck of space dust in the middle of nowhere, then that is incredibly small-minded. There's an entire universe that may be well over 96 billion light years across. That's only the portion we can observe. It may be way bigger than that. We just know it's at least 96 billion light years across. And to think that it was made for us is just nonsense. There has to be, just on the sheer basis of mathematical probability, there has to be some other form of life out there. Like, I'm pretty sure we've already found, like, microbial organisms, or like fossils of microbial organisms on Mars. I'm pretty sure, anyway. I don't remember 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure we have found fossils of microbial organisms on Mars. Not to mention the fact that Mars has polar ice caps means there was liquid water running on the surface of Mars at some point. Meaning there was a high likelihood there was life on Mars at one point. But with just how big the universe is and the sheer number of planets, there are billions upon billions of planets out there. And we've already cataloged several thousand of them, at least. I don't know the exact number, but I know we've cataloged it. Thousands and thousands of exoplanets. So life has to be out there in other places somewhere. I'm actually thoroughly convinced, and now I know this is going to sound stupid because I do not have any evidence for this whatsoever. This is just my wishful thinking, we'll call it. But I am actually convinced that there are humans on other planets out there. I'm 100% convinced of that. because I mean, yes, we have a very specific set of DNA, but if it happened here, and if there are any planets out there that are, you know, in the same category as Earth, you know, evolved life in the same way as Earth, which is pretty likely considering, there's there's no reason to say, or there's no reason we can't say there's a possibility that life evolved in the exact same way in one of those other planets as it did on Earth. So for all we know, there could be a set of organisms out there with the exact same DNA code as us, which would technically make them human. Just not Earth humans. I 100% think that's possible. Again, I've got nothing to back that up. I am not a scientist. I'm not a professional scientist. Let's let me make that distinction anyway. Like, I love science. I love studying it. I wish I could get a job in science somewhere, but I have no like degrees in science or anything. I've got a journalism degree. I'm a journalist. But just a little bit I know of how science and evolution works, there's a distinct possibility that can happen. And if we could prove somehow that there are humans on other planets, I know we won't do it in my lifetime, but if we could prove that there are humans on other planets, I think it would be the ultimate, like one of the ultimate discoveries in science. But I think I've been rambling for long enough. Like I said, the major point of this video was to demonstrate. I actually never even got to my other point that I was going to make in this video, with how, you know, vast the universe is. So let me just do that real quick here at the end. I was going to use this particular picture. This picture is of the. This is the 100,000th picture taken from the Hubble Space Telescope. That bright object there that you see in the very center, that is a quasar, 9 billion light years away. That other object is a star that's only a few thousand light years away or something like that. I don't remember the exact distance, but that quasar in the middle of the picture here is 9 billion light years away. Again, same concept as the M104 picture. If we have a picture of a quasar that is 9 billion light years away, how can the universe be 10,000 years old? So I'll leave you guys with that. If you've enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more science videos from me, from my limited knowledge of what I've got, because again, journalist, not scientist. Just like I said, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I will talk to you guys later.